At some point we talked about binomial squares. Well, we're going to talk about them again. So it's when you have a binomial like a plus b and you square it, there's a formula that says it's equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Or you could have a minus b squared, and it equals a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Or you can use the smiley face approach if you like that. Don't feel bad if you don't like it. I haven't convinced anybody yet, but I should just draw a smiley face. There. Okay. But it's going to come up in this next problem. All right, so here we have our radical equation. It's got a radical in it. It's got a square root. So as you might suspect, we're going to make that 2 go to the other side. So we're isolating the radical. I don't know if I talked about the word isolate yet, but we mean to get the radical all by itself on one side of the equation. So we want just the radical part, and then everything else is on the other side. Okay, so we have the square root of x minus 2 equals x minus 2. We've isolated the radical. Now we're going to raise both sides to the second power. So we're going to square both sides in this case. Okay, on the left side, you get the square root and the square, and they, cancel each other out, I guess. X minus 2 equals. Okay, now on the right side, you have to square this out. A really common mistake is people think, oh, I'll just square the x and I'll square the 2, but that's not how it works. So if you're squaring x minus 2, you're taking the first term and you're squaring it. You're taking the second term, so first term, I gotta draw my smiley face, first term and square it, multiply the 2 together but double it, and then you gotta square the last term. So we're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. Or if you really want to, if you're like, I can't remember the formula, I don't like the smiley face, you could just FOIL it out. It's okay. You'll get the same thing. X squared minus 2x plus 4. It's nice to use the formula because later on we have other formulas, but, one of those ways though. Okay, so that's what we get then on the left-hand side, or I'm sorry, on the right-hand side, x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, so you got rid of the radical, but now it's not a linear equation this time, it's a quadratic equation. But we know how to solve quadratic equations. So we're going to subtract x from both sides. We've got to get everything on one side. We're going to add 2 to both sides. I like to just do it all at once, but you can do it in 2 separate steps. That's fine. So this time on the left-hand side, I get 0. And on the right, I have x squared minus 5x plus 6. So then I have to think about, okay, factoring, right? So how does this factor? X minus 3 and x minus 2. Okay? So I get actually 2 answers here. If you go through the process, right, x minus 3 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, you're going to get x equals 3 or 2. So we have 2 solutions. But what's the last step in our process? We have to check them. Now I'm going to tell you right now, it's a very common mistake to make some wrong conclusions. Just a second, I got to copy this down. Okay, so we're going to check the answers. We have to check each of them individually. Okay, so first of all, we've got to check the 3, and then we'll check the 2. Let's check the 3. So I'm putting a 3 in for x. So it looks like that. I'm waiting on the 2. I'm checking 3. So I'm checking 3 to see if it works. All right, 3 minus 2 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Yeah, so 3 works. That's a solution. Now I have to check 2. So I don't know why I put parentheses around it before, but I'm checking 2. So I go back to the original equation. Oh man, I made that too long. So I put in 2. 2 minus 2 plus 2 equals 2. A lot of 2's. So I put in the 2's for the x's. The other two 2's were already there. Okay, so I get the square root of 0 plus 2. Square root of 0 is 0. That's okay. So 0 plus 2 equals 2? Yeah. So they both work. In my answer, if I'm doing set notation, I would put both answers, 2 and 3. They both work. Now here's where the errors come. Sometimes both answers work, like in this case. Sometimes neither one works. Sometimes one works and one doesn't. So you can't make any like, oh, there's two answers, they're both going to work. That may or may not be true. You have to check them both.